We're here to put the best in each of our residents, and it's like a holistic approach, but person-centered.
We make a difference, we bring joy, and we add spark.
It's about advocating for others. It's such a privilege and an honor.
What you can do for them, being able to communicate. It's about making sure that people feel valued.
Creating meaningful connections and enhancing quality of life.
Our magic lies in connecting with others and letting them know they're never too late.
We are called to understand.
We spread aroha, we spread love.
We see the best in people.
We make dreams happen.
We are the ambassadors of passion and purpose.
We are hard workers.
We are meaning makers.
Yay! Happy Easter, everybody! Kia ora katoa to everyone, and welcome once again to the 2025 live Correro sessions that we are having. And tonight we are going to be discussing about Easter stories, our reflections and learnings, and all the in-betweens in this wonderful, long, and well-deserved holiday for all of us. So kia ora, and now my haere. My name is AJ Aladron, and I am your National Executive Treasurer for the New Zealand Society of Diversional and Recreational Therapy Therapists Incorporated. And with me is Orquidea and Lorraine, who are going to introduce themselves quickly as well. Kia ora, Orquidea.
Kia ora, guys. How are you doing? I hope that you have been behaving well during Easter. Hi, Lorraine. How are you doing?
Hi, Orquidea. Hi, AJ. I'm doing well. Thank you. Happy Easter to you, and hello to our lovely viewers there. Welcome to our Easter special podcast tonight. So we would like to share this time with you all. So I hope you will enjoy this podcast with us. So stay tuned, everybody.
Bye. Yeah, so Orquidea, of course, as many of you know already, is our president of our society, and Lorraine is our vice president. And this evening, we are going to be sharing our own reflections and our own learnings about this wonderful celebration that we have just had and how it is in the lens of diversional and recreational therapists. So I think we shall start with, if there is one word that comes to mind, Orquidea and Lorraine, about Easter, and Easter in New Zealand, especially with us, that can you believe it, that everybody that is on this podcast at the moment, I mean tonight, are all came from somewhere else that brought with them their own culture, their own lunch, and we wanted to share that culture and embrace the culture of the land as well. So if there is one word that comes to mind when you think of Easter, let's start with Lorraine. Lorraine, what do you have? What word do you have?
Yes, so Easter means many things to different people, but if I have to choose one word, I think the word that comes to my mind is hope. So hope for brighter days, hope for new beginnings, and hope for moments of peace and connection. So I think Easter reminds me that even in our darkest days, or in our darkest trials or challenges in life, it always, there's hope for tomorrow. So the sun still rise, yes, in the
The sun will
morning.
still come. Right.
Yes.
Kapay, that's beautiful. Hope is a beautiful word. How about you, Orquidea? What's your word for Easter?
My word for Easter. Look, and I believe this is actually linked to my own cultural and spiritual experiences. It's actually recreation. So in my country, and look, funny enough, we were talking about how Easter is in a way a time of blessing and a time of hope and a time of renewals. But for example, in Mexico, and you're probably gonna laugh at this. When I was growing up, sometimes people assume that you are a Roman Catholic because we were colonized by the Spanish, and obviously we have these strong religious foundations. However, growing up, it really wasn't a choice, right? It was like your auntie or your nana, you have to go to church, you have to, confession, you have to do communion, you have to go to these parades that we have on the streets. And then after that, you have these family connections or family celebrations and community engagement and food and dancing. And we have this fun way of saying, so you go and you ask for forgiveness, and then you go and you sin all over again. And when I say, it's not about sin all over again, but it's more about, in Spanish, we use diversión, which is the equivalent to recreation. So during Easter is a time for people to do a lot of recreation. So people go to the beach, we have a lot of sports playing, we have a lot of family games. So that's really what Easter reminds me of. And when you think about recreation, it's about also recreating, right? So it's about something that has been created from the religious point of view and then rises again. So it's, time for recreation. Yeah. So here we are. We are about to finish Easter Monday, and then we're going to start singing all over again.
That's right. I'm glad that that your word Orquidea is recreation, because I think that is a word that I used to also have in my own
Awesome.
culture. But I think beautifully illustrated in my mind right now that, like season, we also change. So there is a season for our lives as well, and I am in the season right now in my life. Easter means to me as a the word for Easter now for me in this season of my life is quietness or stillness. So before it was recreation, Easter was the time for us to go to the beach, just have lots of fun. And I know that it is. I mean, I grew up in a religious family, so it was a sad story during Thursday, Friday when Jesus died, and then a very happy story on Sunday, right? And then we celebrate on Sunday, and we do those recreation. But now I'm in the season of my life where spending quiet and stillness and downtime with my family is what Easter is all about. And I think that's what we're gonna be talking about this episode: our personal and professional reflections of Easter, as well as the perspective of diversional recreational therapy, how we can facilitate Easter themed activities or other highlight event activities to our residents or the people that we care and support to enhance their quality of life. So I think we'll be going to personally first. So what does Easter mean to us, and how do we want to celebrate Easter if we are now in the facilities that we are working with? But before we go that, let us greet some of our followers. I mean, our viewers right now. Let me just check our Facebook Live. We have 18,000 viewers. So we would like to say good evening to Colleen. Happy pregnancy, and we're really praying for you, Colleen. There. My fans who is downstairs watching as well. My
Of course.
family. Yeah, Deepa Chetty from Wellington. Hello and happy Easter to you and your family, as well as Paddy Chavan. I think Paddy is Orquidea's fan base. Hi and good evening. So I'm glad that you can join us tonight. So yep, let's gonna start with part one, which is what does Easter mean to us?
Okay, well, I think we have talked a little bit about what it means to us, eh? But if I let's put it the other way, guys, Lorraine, AJ, and anyone listening to us today, type it on the messages. What does actually Easter means for you? Because I was born in Mexico. I know that AJ and Lorraine, they were born in the Philippines. However, there was a little bit of data collected a couple of years ago where we are one of the most diverse professions in New Zealand. And that means that the cultural and spiritual needs of diversional and recreational therapies are also different from the people that we are supporting.
Absolutely.
And it can have a huge impact on the way that we are practicing, but also in the way that we are expected to be delivering our services. So, I want to just throw this at both of you, Lorraine, or you, AJ. What does that mean to you as a practicing DRT in New Zealand? Easter, what does that looks for you?
Before I give the floor to Lorraine, I'm gonna unpack. I'm gonna try to unpack that as well and return the question again, Orquidea, to you. Because personally, I'll share one experience that I have when I am delivering like Easter celebration in what do you call this, in our culture, because I know that Mexicans are also very big on this, that we are not scared to talk about death, right? We celebrate death, same as the Philippines culture as well. That is one similarity that we have, and one difference that sometimes our residents or the people that we support are having in their minds, right? So when we talk about Easter, especially spiritually or in a religious context, we talk about the death of Jesus Christ and that journey, and it makes sometimes my residents feel uncomfortable talking about that. And I think that was a really good realization for me, that while it is very comfortable for me, very okay for me to talk about death and talk about life, it really agitated and it really made my residents uncomfortable. That's why it opened my mind, and I said that I'm not doing this for myself alone. I am doing this for them. So I have to understand where that fear or where that taboo is coming from, and really try to understand with compassion how I can deliver these meaningful activities now with their lens on.
Yes, no, great point, AJ. I believe that, and Lorraine, feel free, please, to jump in at any point. Number one, part of our practice is really focusing on understanding. Number one, we need to understand ourselves when we go into this practice. We need to understand where we are, what is our purpose, why are we really doing what we are doing, and if this actually provides us meanings. If we have clear on who we are, it is easy to support someone else, because then we become quite aware about our own unconscious bias and our moral compasses. And when you were talking about, kind of that light bulb moment that, oh my goodness, I actually can be the person that is facilitating this uncomfortable moment, opposite to nurturing a moment. In the world of recreational therapy in New Zealand, because we are so diverse, it is easy to make that mistake. And the solution to that is, number one, understanding who the person is that you are working with, and not understanding about, what do you like? Do you like your cup of tea this way? but the cultural and spiritual needs that they do have, the things that are important for them. Because you might be working with someone, and look, this is another great example, right? And I think now we have been learning together.
Yeah.
I used to see a lot of people celebrating the Cinco de Mayo, right? And I will be the first one to go like, oh my gosh, here we go again. Because we do not celebrate Cinco de Mayo, okay? However, I am
as
Mexican.
Mexicans, right?
Yeah.
As Mexicans.
However,
Yeah.
I am Mexican, and we don't do it. It's only one state in the country. We do recognize that, but it's not Mexican Independence Day, right? So it's exactly the same. When I'm thinking about Easter, and I'm thinking about Lent. Okay, so I don't know about in your countries, but in Mexico, when we're going through Lent, which is obviously before Easter, you go to church, and then the priest will put your cross on your face, right? And if you have a good relationship with the priest and they already know you when you were growing up, they will know whether you have been naughty or not. And then you will get a little tiny cross or you will get a big, massive cross. However, as you are moving outside of that, you have to understand that, is this something that is actually quite important to the people that I'm supporting? Do I need to actually find out who's going to be facilitating that? Or probably it's not. Probably they don't celebrate this. Probably they don't believe in this. A great example is during this holiday, some people have been just, sending emails as normal because they are from a different culture. They do acknowledge that they live in New Zealand, a public holiday, they do respect other people's beliefs. However, for them, it's just a normal day. And I think the key and the solution to that is that we really need to find out more about those intrinsic motivations that people have around cultural and spiritual needs.
Absolutely.
Lorraine.
Yeah, that's right. Just what you're saying, Orquidea, because I grew up in the Philippines, and we have a strong, most of the religion there are Christian, and we have these traditions in the Philippines every Easter. So we do all these traditions like the Easter Dawn procession. We go to Easter Sunday Mass. So it's more on like church. And during Easter, my grandma tells me that, every Easter, the Monday, Thursday, we call it, because our holiday starts on Thursday and ends to Sunday. While in New Zealand, it goes from Friday to Monday. So from Thursday there, we go to church at night, wherein there's the washing of the feet, we attend the mass. And from Friday, my grandma tells us, no, you're not allowed to even smile or be happy because Jesus is dead. And, you have to respect that. So it's very quiet time for us. And on Easter Sunday, that's the time we celebrate, because we say that Jesus is already risen. So, when I came to New Zealand, I realized that, not all these traditions that I was used to is like normal here in New Zealand. So it's quite a change to me, and it opened my eyes as well. And on how, how we modify, on how we celebrate Easter with our residents. Yeah,
and I think that that's a beautiful segue to our next part, where we're not only talking about Easter celebration, but we're actually talking about celebrations in our care settings where beliefs and cultural backgrounds may vary. So as we have now clearly established that, like in the culture of Orquidea, Lorraine, and myself, we came from a background where there is strong religious component for Easter celebration. However, we understand that the people that we support may not necessarily share the same values and share the same beliefs with us. So I think that that's a very important learning that we have to highlight tonight, that our role as diversional and recreational therapists is to facilitate joy, connection, and meaning, and not to push our personal beliefs. And when we say pushing, it doesn't mean that we let go of our beliefs, because we should not, because that is very important. Those beliefs make us who we are. So while we are free to celebrate our own beliefs, we should not be pushing that to the people that have their own set of values and beliefs as well. So, for example, as Lorraine has said, that we are not allowed to smile on Friday and Saturday when in our religious beliefs, Jesus is dead. We should not ask our our residents and our clients to not smile as well, but rather run an inclusive cultural celebration for them, like an Easter celebration that is the culture of New Zealand, which is filled with chocolate, chocolate eggs, the bunny, the Easter bunnies. Some residents would want spiritual stations or reflections, so we should support them in having their own person centered and their own values respected as well. Right, Lorraine?
Definitely, yes. No, AJ. And look, and if I can just also share with all of you is we always need to be learning about other people, and it is actually quite easy to identify when someone has a different cultural or spiritual belief. And I'll give you an example in some other places where I have worked in the past. I've worked with people that are from France, okay, and they also have a different things that they do. Some people will be religious, some people wouldn't be, but they also have this. I can't remember the name of the towns, the little towns. That what they do is they cook a massive omelette for people on Easter Monday. There are other cultures that I have worked with where they Scandinavian countries, like the children will dress up like it's Halloween, and then they will go asking for treats. And residents will refuse to be part of the church service on the day. In Finland, I did work with a lady from Finland a long time ago, and she was just talking to me about how the children will dress up like witches, right? Like with the broomstick and go out there sharing with people. And it just makes you think that it is quite easy to identify that, but if we know where they come from, or probably where the early years where they spend most of the time, then you will have a bigger understanding by doing some research.
Yeah, absolutely.
How you can bring something back to them.
Absolutely. So it really goes back to getting to know your residents and really assessing their backgrounds, eh?
Yes, that's right. And also knowing their choices so that we will be aware on, what their preference are. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have one question, and I think we have talked about this in a regional support group. I think it was the North Shore Regional Support Group when we talked about a difficult conversation. So they ask, one of the difficult conversation is, what if you are a diversional recreational therapist and you are required to facilitate a celebration that goes against your belief? So, for example, you are not Christian. So Easter is not a celebration that is, even not goes against your belief, that you're really not that you don't believe in, right? So how do you move forward with that? Same as with Christmas, same as with Christians that don't celebrate Halloween, but they're now required to be celebrating Halloween because their manager said, you are the DT here, you should be facilitating Halloween, but it's against their religious beliefs. So any thoughts, guys?
I think for me, AJ, if I was asked to do an event that that is against my practice or my religion, I think I would still do it because this is our job. So we are committed to what we are doing, and at the end of the day, what we do is not for us, but it's for our residents. So it's for the benefit of the client that we care for. So for me, I think we need to have the flexibility to to work and to adapt to changes as well. Yeah.
Look, I do agree with Lorraine. However, there is also this what we will call, I wouldn't call it gray space, but I believe there is a space in every profession where flexibility and adaptability it's fundamental. So when we are going into a role which is going to require us to be driving programs and programs that are targeting people's joy, people meaning, people purpose, people's sense of belonging. We have it quite clear from the beginning that there is something good, there is a good outcome that we're going to be working on. However, if you have a strong beliefs and a strong values, and there might be something that you are asked or required to be doing that really might compromise um,
Values.
your own values and integrity, you have the right to actually talk to your line manager and to express your feelings. You are not going to get fired for that. However, you have to be honest. It's about, hey, look, I do understand that you would like me to facilitate a Halloween rave. However, in my culture, it's something that really goes against my values, and it can put me into a very uncomfortable situation
Yeah.
with my family, with my elders, with my community. And if that's the case, I believe that having an honest conversation, people understand and they will be able to support you. And there might be,
Absolutely.
someone in the team, it might be the caregiver,
Right.
the housekeeper, the gardener, even the manager that will be excited about this. And you might be able just to provide tips or to help them with the organization and the planning of the
Yeah.
event. And that
Yeah.
should be perfectly fine.
Absolutely. I could not agree with both of you ladies. And that's, I think, one of the highlight learnings that we have for tonight, right? That while we are required to be flexible, while we are required to be adaptable in our role, we should be self-aware. We should know where to draw the line, where our own values will be compromised. And if that, I think one of the members of this regional support group that I've attended when we were discussing this beautifully said that illustrated in this example. Like, for example, if I don't believe in Christmas, and I know that Christmas is one of the best time of the year for some of our residents, and if I facilitate it, I will be shortchanging them. I will be facilitating the best time, supposedly the best time of the year for them, with not doing the best because I'm not the best person for the job, right? So I think being self-aware and understanding when to ask for help and going to your line manager and saying that I am all support, but I'm not the best person to facilitate because number one, I don't know this celebration. I don't understand this. I still have to learn. Why not get somebody? And I will be the assistant. I will be the runner. I will be the supporter and get somebody who understands more. So I think that's one thing that is also value for us diversional therapists, diversional recreational therapists, is to learn to ask for support and learn to find where those supports would come from. Amazing. I think we are having a great discussion tonight. But before we go to the second to the last part of our session, let's greet some of the people watching with us tonight. So we would like to say hi and good evening to Andrea Walker. I think Andrea is out of the country, but safe travels if you're still out of the country, or if you're back, Andrea. Now my hi or my welcome home. We have Nelia Ajak. I think this is Eileen Kaha. I'm twisting your name around. Eselita Malikden, good evening. Donna Stetchman Kelly, thank you very much for those comments. Madipa Sarah Patil and Edgardo Cabamongo Jr. Good evening to all of you, and thank you for joining us. So now let's proceed to part 3, Lorraine, looking ahead because we have some more celebrations and some more holidays for this. Yay!
That's right. Yes. So yes, so one of our celebrations looking ahead would be Anzac Day. So Anzac Day is coming up this Friday. So I know some of us or most of us, the DTs, will be very busy preparing for this Anzac Day celebration. So yeah, we are doing a service for us to remember the loved ones who served during the war. And for others, it's also about the quiet strength of those who stayed behind. So, like raising families, holding communities together, and finding hope in hard times. So, this day reminds us that courage comes in many forms, not only in uniforms, but in kindness, in care, and in the ways we support each other. So, yes.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you for that, Lorraine. Yeah. And for those that have not received yet their invitation, there is an ANZAC webinar that is happening on Wednesday to unpack what ANZAC is all about. And there's a lot of beautiful questions that will be answered that night as well. So if you haven't gone through with that, please go to our Facebook page because the details are there. Another celebration that we will be having for the women, Orquidea and Lorraine, is the approaching Mother's Day, which is the fast approaching Mother's Day celebrated, I think, on the first Sunday of May, right? So I think
Yes.
this is our discussion tonight is a good reminder that while Mother's Day is a joyful celebration, it can be a hard celebration for others as well. So
Yes.
we have to be inclusive and we have to be sensitive because there are some residents of ours that are having hard feelings when we celebrate Mother's Day, perhaps for different reasons. Some didn't have a very good relationship with their mothers. Some didn't have a very good relationship on their motherhood journey. So we have to be sensitive and not just celebrate it because we need to celebrate it. So I think that's
Yes.
the highlight learning that we have tonight.
Yes, and I believe that when I think about ANZAC and Mother's Day and any kind of celebration, it's about we need to keep building on our capability, right? Like being trauma informed, it's a huge part on delivering recreational therapy services now. But also we are on-site advocates. We always have to really be supporting the person. And even when the side might like to have, a massive celebration on anything, which is perfectly fine, it's not a problem. But it's about identifying people that might not relate to that celebration and how can we still support them and protect their integrity, their dignity, their feelings, and how we are having those discussions with the wider team. When I think about ANZAC, it's not only about the biscuits and the puppy and the medals, but it's also about understanding what is the tradition that is associated to, for example, ANZAC Day, the war effort. Because coming from a country where I haven't been at war, that doesn't mean that because I don't fully understand or if I don't have anyone through my family that has been through war, I am not going to be respecting those memories and histories of people that have. But it's about how I continue to protect and value that. And look, when you were talking about Mother's Day, super important because in these days, it's not only about whether you have been a mom or not. Some amazing women that I have met through this journey in recreational therapy in the 80s, 90s, 100, and even younger people, they have this motherly nature, right? And they probably never had children. And also some of them never had their own mothers. Or they were unable to be mothers. So it's just about really being aware on what is meaningful to the person, opposite to just let's go and do this.
Yeah, because this is how it's written, and let's just go
Yeah.
and just tick the box. Kapay, that was beautiful. Thank you very much for that, Orquidea. So while we gather our thoughts for our final roundup of our reflection of what we have been discussing tonight, and while Orquidea and Lorraine is doing that, summarizing their thoughts because I know they have 1 million things to say. But I would like to share another wonderful reflection for our Easter celebration. Our Easter weekend. And if you haven't read the blog yet from the beautiful DRTH, registered diversional recreational therapist from Alpine View, the beautiful hatchery story, which is entitled Cracked Eggs and Full Heart. So if we can just show that on the screen. Yeah, the beautiful blog that Trina Cox, a registered diversional therapist, Trina Cox have written. Please hop on to our Facebook page. It's on there as well, and you can read those beautiful reflections of hers and comment for encouragement, and let's continue to encourage each other. Right. So yep, it's on the Facebook page anyway. I'm not able to show it to you here right now, but it's on our Facebook page. Please check it out. It's a very, very beautiful reflection and a very, very beautiful story about Easter and their celebration. Bye. So let me start first of our final words before we say good night and before we say again kiyakaha to everyone and another short week for this week, just 3 days, yay, and then another holiday. So I would like to encourage everyone that we should embrace every season in ways that feel authentic to us. And I think that was beautifully explained by Lorraine and Orquidea earlier, that while we are required to be flexible and continuously give and serve others, we should draw the line and be authentic and be aware of our true selves as well as be aware of and connect with our residents with their true selves, because I think that is the bottom line. That is the most important formula or ingredient of how to create a meaningful celebration. Lorraine?
Right, that's beautiful, AJ. So I just want to say that just a reminder for us, DRT, that it is the intention behind the celebration that matters most. So it's the connection over perfection. So over to you, Orquidea.
Definitely. And look, and I feel for me, it's more about all the beauty that we already have through our upbringings and the knowledge that we bring through our own cultures, to use them for the common well-being of everyone. So every little tiny piece of goodness that you have within your own culture, within your own traditions, whether it might be music or dance or poetry or movement or reading or whatever you bring to your own culture, make sure that that's the focus. Get to know the people that you are supporting. That's the key.
Awesome. Right. So I think that's our time for tonight. And as much as we wanted to continue talking and talking, we have to eat dinner and we have to prepare for another work day tomorrow. So Lorraine, do you want to say thank you to our lovely listeners and lovely members that have joined us tonight and will be joining and watching the recording?
Sure. Thank you, AJ and Orquidea. I really enjoyed this time with the both of you. And to our viewers, thank you for tuning in into our Easter podcast tonight. We hope it brought you a moment of reflection, comfort, and connection to your day. May this season remind us all of hope, renewal, and the joy of sharing stories together. So happy Easter and thank you, guys. Just a quick reminder as well to check the Easter blog and a recent Alpine View story in our website. And also, if you are doing any special occasions or doing something special with your residents, please get in touch with us and share some photos so that AJ or AJ and the team can put it together. So thank you guys. And our ANZAC webinar, which is organized by the North Shore Support Group, is on the 23rd of April. So feel free to join us. And also the national conference is coming up in August. So if you haven't registered yet, so get in touch with us. And thank you and have a good night. So over to AJ and Orquidea.
Yeah, just like to say thank you, everybody. Remember to fill your tank because you cannot give from an empty cup. So always look after yourself so that you can always project that to the residents and the people that we support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, sir. Bye, everyone.
Peace,
thank you so much. Good night.